Okay. So is everybody able to see the screen we're sharing? Okay. All right, great.
Yep.
Um, okay. So before we get started, we've got four counties here that we have kind of asked to share. The whole idea of this Rev and Bev is this ideas we're stealing. So if you've been kind of around and involved in your committee for a while, Janet and I first started. Working with 250, we were brought in really as local support. So we were tasked with kind of going to all 46 counties, checking in with everybody, kind of helping with the organization, helping everybody kind of look at this through like a lens of heritage tourism and all this has been really, really great. Part of that was we did a small like regional training. So maybe 3 to 5 counties. We brought them together and we did day long kind of like marketing 101 training. And the big piece of that was this ideas we're stealing, where everybody had to kind of stand up and say something that they had going on that was really cool and interesting. And I mean, it was great. We learned a ton. The counties learned a ton. It's just a really fun way for us to learn what everybody else is doing and see how we can apply those in our communities. So we kind of grabbed some counties. We grabbed four to do this, and then hopefully I'll have time at the end for people to tag on and share what they're doing as well. But we've got some of our big hitters, big hitter counties. We've got Berkeley County, who is like always doing amazing things. They've been kind of plugged in since the very beginning of this, probably before the 250 commission, and same thing with Georgetown. So we'll have those two committees present, and then we've got some kind of new groups that we haven't heard from yet. That are really doing some fun and engaging things that I think is going to give you guys good ideas that you can take back. We got Marion County and Greenville County too. Before we start, though, I did want to go over just a couple things that are kind of out there and wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of them. That we've sent this out in an email, and I think that the 250 team has posted this on Basecamp, but wanted you guys to know that it's out there and it's a great tool and give you kind of some ideas on how you can use it. So, we again, we saw this need of the local counties and local municipalities and committees struggling with, how do we put together and organize for this whole Carolina Days that runs from June 27th to July 5th, to make it pretty kind of easier and make it easier for partners to join in. We created this event menu. So it runs all the way through to July 5th, which is Sunday, and each day has got a different theme. So this is like communities can grab on to bits and pieces of this and really make it their own. But the 27th kicks off with the community celebration. That's on a Saturday in the summer. A lot of people are already doing things. When you talk about what Carolina means to our community, that's when you get out those famous local people. You celebrate all your hometown celebrities, products, places, get your industry partners in there. Carolina Day itself really is going to be the commemoration ideas there are really what they have been doing in Charleston for 248 years. So how do we bring that statewide? And we ask our communities to fly the Carolina flag. We ask them to ring church bells, day of service, that kind of thing. We just put together just some easy, quick ideas. Again, these are all just suggestions. And then we go out through the week with things like looking at our trails and our rivers and the history they hold, and focusing on getting outdoors. Tuesday's all about kids and Carolina kids. How do we plug kids into this? Wednesday is really the arts and humanities day, so that's a great time to plug in your storytelling, that kind of thing. Screen your videos, kick off all of these great public art pieces that are being commissioned. The second is the Made in Carolina. That's when we have a chance to support local businesses, talk about the agriculture history in our state, and plug in our local industries. Friday is really kind of that day of commemoration leading up to Independence Day. We can talk about our heroes, unveil those historic markers, host cleanup at your sites. But we can also honor, modern day revolutionaries and commemorate our veterans on that day as well. Fourth of July, fireworks, hot dogs, all the things. And then we rounded up with America's Potluck, which is a national kind of grassroots thing that's going on. I think it came out of Utah or South Dakota, can't remember, somewhere out there. But it's just this idea of gathering around either just with your friends or in a larger venue with your community or your church and just kind of sharing a meal and sharing your hopes for the next 250 years. So all of this is, we've got branding tied to it, we've got ideas, messaging, there'll be advertising tied to it, but we would love to be, help you in your communities if you have questions or if you want to use this as a guiding plan. You can go on the website, print this out, take it to your city manager, take it to your downtown Main Street director and say, hey, here's some ideas that are already out there. And then Heather, maybe you could speak really quickly because they did announce at the commission meeting about a little changes in grants because I know up to this point the grant funding had to be dedicated for that 1773 to I don't whatever the dates are. If Heather, are you still on there? Can you jump in real quick and tell them about the next two grant cycles and how they're going to be a little bit different?
Yes. So starting with December 1st, monthly grants and the December 12th major and premier grants, we will be accepting both grant applications that pertain strictly to 1770 to 1783. That takes you from the Boston Massacre to the Treaties of Paris. We'll still be taking those, and that will still be our primary focus. But we will also, this spring, starting with December and into the spring, we will be accepting grant applications that pertain to Carolina Days, as long as it checks one of the boxes that you see in front of you here. So it has to, if you're going to get outside of that time period, if you're going to do a concert or do an art project that doesn't have anything to do with 1770 to 1783, it needs to be tied to one of the Carolina Days promotions. So if you're filling out the application, that second question in the narrative, ask about that. How does it tie to the American Revolution? You'll need to make sure that you're specifically calling on one of these days and putting that in your application so that we know that you're focusing on Carolina Days and bringing that to fruition. So
Can I ask a question?
sure,
Heather, is this for both the monthly grants and the major grants,
that's
or
correct.
just the monthly?
Both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Starting with both of the December deadlines, I will be accepting for both Carolina Days applications and 1770 to 1783.
Thank you.
Sure.
And that's big news. So make sure you share that in your, if
Yes.
anyone else that you know that's involved in this work, because I think a lot of people haven't. I was really excited when I saw that I heard you mention that at the commission meeting, but I'm not sure if it's widely known. So um,
Yes.
very cool. And again, we are here kind of to serve as the content or the point of contact for any help that you or any of your other community leaders have in planning these events. And there's tons of ideas out here that we have already heard from people, but really it's the idea of making what typically happens in Charleston every year, accessible to places like, in the upcountry where we may not know that story, we may not have the connection, but everyone knows our flag. I mean, our flag tells the story of Carolina Days. So it's really just kind of connecting those two things and bringing it back in a meaningful way to your community. Annie, real quick.
I'm wondering one time we talked about ringing the bells on Carolina Day at 9 in the morning, and then another time I heard General Grimsley say at noon. And there was going to be a governor's whatever you proclamation to do that. What what do y'all know about when to ring the bells on Sunday, Carolina Day?
I haven't heard anything specific to that yet, if that's coming, down from a state level, but we will keep our eye on it for sure and kind of let you guys know when if there are any other details. I think what's happening next with this is the 250 team at a state level is going out and talking to all of those partners and saying, here, here's some ideas. How are you guys going to plug in? And we're hoping everyone from the governor's office to Department of Ag and all that are going to kind of grab on, and we'll start seeing these things fleshed out, and we'll add that to that page on the website as we know more details.
And Annie, I think that the Charleston always does noon. So I think that we would just replicate that around the state. So stick with noon. It would be my guess. Is my understanding from Will.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. And if you've got other questions, kind of you can put them in the chat or we can talk about this at the end, but I want to make sure everybody has their time to share. The other thing I wanted to talk about really quickly as well, if you haven't seen this yet, I think there is a email coming out your way in the morning or sometime, but this is we're gonna have a kind of holiday themed gathering on Wednesday, December 10th in Camden. It's a day long, if you've been to them before, they're a similar flow to those where, we start at 9:30 with coffee and snacks, and then we go throughout the day, and it includes lunch. There'll be a lot of breakout. We're going to really focus on networking, getting to know people, sharing ideas. There's some really fun things in the works too that we'll be hearing about that staff and everybody is working on. And then I think we just found out that there's also going to be a meet and greet the night before at the trust, which is down the street in the Robert Mills courthouse, the courthouse there. So they're going to do a drop in before that. So register. Look for your email. That should have all of the links, right, Heather? Everything you need to register. You can grab this QR code if you want to. I think they're blocking out some hotel rooms if you'd like to stay overnight as well. But we'll be working out at the agenda. But these are really like, kind of times for us to just kind of come together and share and celebrate the year and look forward to next year, right? And get ready for that. So wanted you to be aware of that. Make sure you're sharing that with everyone that is in this world as well. Everybody's welcome. All right. We got Berkeley County up. Is Chris still here?
Chris is still here.
Okay.
So quick introduction
Janet's
for
gonna lead us.
the communities coming up. Identified a couple of counties that are doing a lot of good work. Berkeley specifically, they just know about how to get the right people at the table, how to share the load and share the wealth and share the glory. So Chris Wolf, who is their chairperson in Berkeley County, is going to give us 5 to 7 minutes of information from Berkeley County. And Chris, as you start talking, we will scroll through the slides for you.
Okay, this is an interesting, can y'all hear me fine?
We can, yep.
Good. This was an interesting thing for me because I was already putting together an annual report for County Council, who is our major funder. So I had already started on how come we're so successful today and how is it we've been going so long all volunteer. And it occurred to me, everything has to do with the power of collaboration. And go ahead and advance the slides. The very first thing we did to set up our working group in 2022 was to look at the major stakeholders. And we identified those stakeholders very quickly as history-loving groups. I don't know if the rest of you have this issue or not, but in Berkeley County, history is extremely proprietary. So everybody has their pot of history and frankly, are fairly unwilling to share. So we thought, oh no, we're gonna embrace these folks. We're gonna meet them where they are, and we're gonna ask them to join us. So right off the bat, we had everything from the museum to the trust to Fort Fairlawn to the Berkeley County Historical Society, Daniel Island Historical Society, the History Forum at Cane Bay, and the Berkeley North Historical Society, to name a few. And we had those folks. We identified county government, whom we knew would be our marketers and partners on the sites and research, and also would be our major funders. We have the school district because it is so difficult for us to get into the public schools. We can get into parochial, private, and homeschoolers, but we needed to have this representative. Local businesses, and not to leave out local armchair historians. They don't have particular, they may not be academics, but they have materials, they have maps, they've got research, and they've got connections. So that was what we did first. And our board of 9 is peopled with those people and representatives. We have put on some at-large members, which include parts of the county that were not included in this first stakeholder group. Because what we did in our first 2023, we did quarterly meetings, and they were all in Moncks Corner, and we were not doing the rest of the state. So that became our very targeted focus. Okay, next thing we did is we joined everybody. Hey, we've got a little bit of money. Remember, in the first year, we had $16,000. That was it. We used it only for promotional things and to get, somebody had gotten a laptop, and we used it to get the apps on the laptop that we needed. But we joined everybody, and we became volunteers for these groups. We added our connections to these groups that already had things like Colonial Day, or they may have had some sort of a park event at Old Santee Canal Park, and we added to it, and we used our friends. Heather and a bunch of state funders came down to Berkeley, and we filmed it. And it was Meet the Funders. It was the richness of collaboration. And both county and state funders came and talked to a group of nonprofits from the Low Country, and it was web-based. And they learned about funds that were available. It was a training day. So the second thing we did, not only did we join people where they were, but we used our friends. Our biggest supporters for the whole notion of the Berkeley 250 and our long range plans and our mission helped us do the first 4 programs. And it went great, but it was, remember, stuck in Moncks Corner. It was stuck at the museum in Berkeley, in Moncks Corner, and it was stuck at Old Santee Canal Park. So joining with the Daniel Island Historical Society was the first time we moved ourselves out of Moncks Corner. And they are one of our fiercest supporters and greatest collaborators. And we have at least quarterly revolutionary programs with their history group. We also have funded in a small way some of the research they've done in UG and in the south of Berkeley County. So when they've had a cemetery, say, that's on private property, but we need to know more about it because it's revolutionary, we have helped them hire or pay for the researcher from the college who came to do that. We just in October did a huge thing with them that also involved the retirement community in Daniel Island. So it was Berkeley 250, Daniel Island Historical Society, the retirement community, to do a panel discussion of 4 historians, partial screening of John Lauren's birthday by the the Actors Theater of South Carolina. And this panel talked about whether or not John Lauren should be included a founding member, a founder of the revolution in South Carolina. It was extraordinary, with the film playing in the background and with the 3 collaborators. We paid to have Actors Theater of South Carolina be there. They have a lot of grant requirements. Heather, that they owe you for the grant funds that they got. And we were a letter of support for them way back when, and we helped fund the program for that night. So that collaboration has continued over a long time. We then used our connections. We dispatched our connections everywhere, and we made it our business to have relationships to every major municipality in our county. And that sounds like piece of cake, right? It's not. Goose Creek is one of the easiest places to work with. However, they have a rec center director, they have a senior program, they have Danning amphitheaters. In order to meet our audience requirements, we wanted to vastly vary the audiences we were reaching. We have to go to all those places in Goose Creek, including the Artists Guild. So to put programming that matches Goose Creek's needs, it would be a film 1776 at Danning Amphitheater, or a full day of Liberty Live for private, parochial, and homeschool audiences. And we did that at their Veterans Park just this October. We are doing 1776 in 2026. We are furnishing the second program to the senior center there, which takes place in their huge gymnasium. And we have had 2 live performances. Eliza Lucas Pinckney talking about indigo, and she's doing the senior luncheon. This has like 150 folks every time. They clear out the whole of their gymnasium. They put up a stage, they put up auditorium type seating, and they have a buffet brought in. And at Christmas, it's going to be Her Majesty's Christmas tree, Queen Charlotte, who was Fat King George III's wife, and who had 15 children during the course of his reign. But it lets them know what was going on in England at the time we were fighting these fierce wars, before the end of the Revolution. We have all sorts of things at the Senior Center in Hanahan. We did something at their amphitheater park also in October. We're in St. Stephen. We're having in St. Stephen and my time's not up yet, is it?
It's very close, so you might have to
I
move
know.
to the
Okay.
next 2 points.
That's a brand new one. We're now in Cross, but we're using their amphitheater in their history room to have Jeff Neal talk about the Declaration and to have a screening of John Lawrence War. So it is all about connections, sharing marketing, sharing impact reports, and more than anything, giving credit for the accolades. Our in-kind services that we require for match funds for all of the grants that we have to do with the in-kind venues furnished us in all these places. It's magnificent. And please share the accolades with these folks and continue what's been successful. After every event, we have a debriefing with the people involved and with our board, and we decide what we want to continue to do. We no longer use any programming that one of us on the events committee has not seen invented, because what may be great for this audience might not be good in Berkeley County. So the biggest thing for us is making sure that we have a good match that's inclusive, that's diverse, that replicates the needs of the county and is educational and of a very fine quality. That's it. Any questions?
We have a couple of
You've got
slides
really
to
great
show
pictures. Yeah.
Yes, I do. And these
You
are
want to just
the
tell us what we're
outcomes.
looking at real quick? We go
All
through
right, this
these.
first top row is, I told you we had Liberty Live come and do the parochial, private, and homeschoolers, and one school, Boulder Bluff, was able to walk over we had about 150 kids for 3 days in a row. One of those days was at the Hanahan Amphitheater. And the number of people that were just passing by and showed up, Johnny Cribb was there, our tourism department was there, and took pictures to take to an international tourism thing in Ottawa that just ended last week. But here you are on the river, Goose Creek in Hanahan. It was a phenomenal and beautiful fall day. And what else do you have? I think we have Liza Lucas. Oh, and see, there's Eliza Lucas at the Senior Center in Hanahan. And here was 11-8. And Diana, you did a wonderful job of getting Victoria there. We had our PIOs involved from Berkeley County, and this was the salute to veterans out at Pineville at Francis Marion's gravesite. And there is a wonderful, I couldn't find it in time, but there's a wonderful link to the live video done by Channel 5.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
It's great.
And that's thanks
Oh,
to
these are the same.
and your team, as well as the South Carolina State Guards. You want to talk about a great collaboration? That's amazing. Here are the Boy Scouts who did part of the very formal and somber program there. And then to the right of that is Eliza Lucas again. And there's my husband who tried to sign up for the National Guard while we were there. I suggested 81 might be over the age limit, but he was so impressed by those folks.
I love it.
Hey, Chris, before we move on, there is a question from Kate in Greenville. She wants to know, do you have any connection to Native American or African American
We do.
historical reenactors? So we will connect you guys
Good.
with
We
an
do.
email, and then
Yeah.
you can get some information to Kate. How's that?
I will. And that we have, Kate, a lot of research. We've got a research grant, and we have already, our research committee has already done some publication. So
Great. I will get that. I'll
Thank
connect
you
you
all.
to I will connect you to by email. Chris, thank you for sharing that
Oh, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
information.
A couple things. There were some ideas we're stealing inside of your ideas we're stealing that I was like, ooh, the senior center and nursing homes and all of that and getting out and about. And I think it's a great way for, like you said, to get out into other parts of the county and meet people where they are, quite literally. And I love that you've kind of developed these programs. And so maybe there's some other people that I know other people have talked about that. I think we've talked about even that at a state level. So we might come
It's
back at you
wonderful.
to steal some of those ideas about what has worked well. But I could see that could be really engaging, having music and muskets and all of that
Oh, it's
stuff and
fabulous.
really
And
be fun.
over 50 communities. Over Del Webb, we took them to things. One in November, one in October, one in November. There were yesterday afternoon, 90 people there, and they want to know what we're doing next year. They want something every other month.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's amazing.
thank you all.
And
Thanks,
your
Chris.
Meet the Funders programming that you had talked about, I believe that's on the SC250 YouTube
It is.
page. Yes,
It
we
is.
were just looking at that this morning, and there's some great resources in
Oh,
there.
it's
So y'all
fabulous.
check that out. I didn't realize that was a Berkeley. That came kind of from you guys too. That's really nice. Okay, sorry. Anybody?
I will connect Annie. I'll also connect you with Chris via email, and you two can connect with questions. Okay. Thank you again to Chris. Next, we're going to move on to Georgetown County, and we have Ken, who is a regular Rev&Bev guy. I hope you're drinking your beer, Ken. This is your
This is a special Polaner Molchner lager that I happen to pick
we
up.
give Ken permission to drink early on the third Tuesday of every month. So here we go.
There you go. But I happen to pick up going through Berkeley County in the Nexton community. There's a brand new Harris Teeter there. I mean, if you haven't been down to that area, not just, I mean, Dorchester, Berkeley area, it's a whole new world down there. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like a city popped up overnight.
Mm.
And
The whole
um,
next in, yes, it
oh
is.
my gosh, oh my God, I couldn't
But
believe it.
Well, we can
But
go there and you can buy us a beer, Ken. We'll meet you at one of the breweries or
there you go.
something,
It's the first
right?
Harris
All right.
Teeter I ever seen that had the Harris Teeter has a huge bar there. So, but
Oh,
anyway,
fun. We will
There you
uh,
go.
come. We will come. All
I
right. So, Ken, tell us the cool thing that Faux Fresh is all about.
okay, I'll do
You'll
that.
have to remind me to switch slide. You just tell me and
Yeah.
I'll be
Okay,
your hands
I'll do
here.
that. First, I want to say that I always draw inspiration from Chris. I mean,
Oh, okay.
we can only hope to have the energy that Chris Wolf has, and I
Yes.
appreciate her and I appreciate everything she does. Uh, I could say that she's absolutely correct when it comes to assess and adjust, and also with the senior living communities with everything going on now, I mean, all the seeds that we planted over the past 2, 3 years are starting to sprout, and people are contacting us. I had the senior living community contact me last Friday. I talked to the library last night. They want to get a youth program at the library. They want to have a senior program at the senior living communities here. So we're putting both of them together now, and and the folks from our newly formed steering committee for Carolina Week. We had a meeting on Friday morning, and everybody's involved. Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, all the museums, everybody wants to be part of this, and it kind of plays into this Foxes on Front Revolutionary Education Scavenger Hunt,
Yay.
otherwise known as Faux Fresh. Love the picture. Uh, we this was a an idea that was born out of the local Carolina Dames, and the Carolina Dames wanted to have something a little more enduring for the city, something that goes beyond just our regular celebratory activities, and they wanted to be a part of this, and they believe so strongly in it. I have to tell you, it has been a pleasure to work with these ladies on this project. They you know they requested our help with the organizational ability of it and to try to put it together as a program and a project. But there it's all them, it's their hearts. So okay, so go ahead and change the slide. I don't know what your next slide is exactly, or is this it? Okay.
It's
Hey,
yours, Ken.
all right, there you go. So this program touches a lot of points here. All right. Um, we're we're a lot of the colonial dames are very big into trying to educate the youth. Flo Phillips has their colonial kids camp every year, and their hearts are really in it. So they wanted to find, and Georgetown wanted to find more pathways to educate our youth and visitors about our important role, of course, in the American Revolution. We have a lot of historical figures here in Georgetown and in the Low Country that need to have ways to be presented other than just reading history books. So they came up with this idea. We came up with a project, and we're hoping that it not only touches the ability to hit all that population, but also to bring more activity into our museums. So we'll be putting in 9 permanent bronze foxes, and they'll be located along the Front Street Harbor Walk. We have several museums, all within short walking distance of each other here on Front Street, for those of you who've never been here. All right. The idea is to plant these small 9-inch foxes in areas, bushes or bells or you name it, where they're hidden from plain view, not so hidden that you can't find them. And they give hints in the paperwork for the location. With each fox will be, I mean, we'll have a booklet, and eventually will also be online that we can do electronically. But right now it's just a analog booklet. But each fox has a biography. We have everybody from Francis Marion, Oscar Marion to Eliza Lucas Pinckney to the list just goes on. Thomas Lynch. So we have several people that we think people in Georgetown and our visitors need to know about. Not necessarily purely Georgetonian people, but close enough, let's say. All right, and so we have a start point that will be at the visitor center. and will proceed towards the Comiskey House Museum, which is on the other side of Front Street. It could also go in reverse. So if we have a problem with one center or one museum being closed, we have the ability to adapt and overcome, if you will. So it doesn't close down um, the whole Foxes on Front scavenger hunt. You know, if any of you have been to Greenville, you know they have those little mice that you have to go looking for in a scavenger hunt. I mean, it's kind of kind of a similar idea. All right. The scorecard will be provided. The idea is that when they're done with the scavenger hunt, that they wind up either at the Gullah Museum or at the Georgetown County Museum to claim a prize. So uh, we like the idea of having them at the Georgetown County Museum because the state had put a big grant in there for the Francis Marion Living History exhibit, Francis Marion Interpretive Center. So we're trying to get more foot traffic in there, and this will be a way to get more foot traffic in there. So we're excited about it. The sculptor that we picked is actually a resident sculptor at Brook Green Gardens. So um, we're hoping to get this rolling very quickly.
I love the
Okay.
connection to Brook Green Gardens too. It's neat,
Well, yeah, well,
keep staying local. Like it.
there's other connections with Brooklyn Gardens too, but we won't get into this on this. I know you have other people you want to have talk, so we'll go ahead and move forward from that. But yes,
Ken, can
yes.
I ask, when you do the bio, like when you go to Fox number 9, is the bio somewhere behind him, or or is it QR coded? How did the kids get the bio on that
Well,
person?
the bio will be in the booklet, all right, and it will eventually be transposed into a QR code and have that information electronically as well. All right, so we're as I said, we're doing an analog now. Flo Phillips, you know, she writes kids stories, and she's very comfortable with doing that. We have an illustrator that does the illustrations, and the ladies really want to be involved at that level. We'll take that and ultimately move that into an electronic format.
That's
Probably before Carolina Day. I just want to say one more thing about that too, because during our steering committee meeting on Friday, we agreed to use the ribbon cutting of the Foxes as part of the Carolina Week festivities. I didn't realize that we already had a day
Yeah,
specifically laid out for a
I know
youth
I'm on a
day.
meeting, but what's up?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yes,
Unmuted.
so
we
we already
are.
have a youth day for Carolina Day, and if we can make it, that'll be the day that will be the grand opening of this Foxes on Front scavenger hunt.
Well,
I
that
love
would
it.
be perfect.
And
Yes.
Ken, I am just thinking that you're going to need to have little plush foxes with the little tricorn hats that you sell at your, for a fundraiser. I
Yep.
mean, it's
Well,
just going to have to happen. So this is great. It's such a great fit for just the kind of vibe of Georgetown too. It's just such, it's not a forced kind of tie-in with what people are already doing in the community, walking around, going all those places. This is
well,
great.
sure. And we are known for the swamp fox here,
Yes.
and hence the Foxes on Front, obviously, for those of you who haven't connected that. Yeah, it all ties in together beautifully. And yeah, we're excited. And as I said, I hope when I'm rolling in here for the 300th anniversary, I get to come in here and buff up those foxes and make them look nice.
And Ken,
Yes.
this is a grant that you applied. Isn't that correct? You applied for a
Yes. So
grant with
the
SC
the
250?
grant is specifically for paying for the bronzes
Okay.
themselves. Just for those of you who've never been through it, it's quite a process to make these things. And we're having 15 made. You got to have if you want anything lasting, you got to have extras. We
Mhm.
are on the water here, and we could lose a fox, so we have backup foxes, and we also have backup foxes for potential expansion. So
Good.
it'll be 15
Planning for the
altogether,
future.
Smart.
Love
and
it.
that
Smart.
pretty much is what the grant is for.
Ken,
Cool.
I love this story and would love, if even as these foxes are being made or something to pitch that as a story, because I think it's such a great thing to say, like for the media to come and like maybe see them being made and kind of get that anticipation that this is coming. So please let's stay in touch because
Yes.
this is a really, really great story here.
Diana, that's a great idea. And nobody's mentioned that yet about documenting the development of the foxes. That is
I
a
think
think it
we
good
would be
talk
idea.
about
so.
that with everyone. Like that's just general. Don't wait till last minute to share your thing. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to know the story behind the thing. We want to see the good, bad, and the ugly of you getting ready for this thing to happen. So just think about what makes a good story, what you like to see, what you like to learn about. It's never really the ribbon cutting or the final thing. It's always the struggles and all of the cool things and the creativity behind it. So love
Yeah,
that.
and,
Just
And
and
keep in
it
mind
also
exactly.
everyone.
is, it just also, as Diana said, it's the building of anticipation. So if you're going to kick this off in July, if you started teasing it, couple of months ahead, everybody's really paying attention to what's happening. So
Yeah.
you can build a lot of momentum if you do it a little early. So great
So
ideas.
we have another steering committee meeting in a couple of weeks. They wanted to take the month off in December for the holidays. I said, that's not going to happen. You're not going to take a month off.
You are
So
such a you're such a
Tough
driver there,
shit.
Ken. Get it going. Get it
Well, Ken,
going.
the
yeah,
other thing about putting it out there is you're probably going to find partners, other artists, other people who
True.
want to like, oh, this is really cool. I want to make a, thing tied along with this. I want to, write a little children's book or make a play based on the fox. So,
Yeah.
if we let them know soon, you're going to bring in all those partners like Chris was talking about and giving people a way to, this is a really cool thing to plug into.
yeah, it is.
Awesome.
And we also, I mean, as far as that's concerned, we have the Swamp Fox players down here in Front Street, and through our last steering committee meeting, now we have a connection with the Swamp Fox players that maybe we can go ahead and build on that activity as well. See, now
Nice.
I'm glad I joined, and here it is. I was going to take a nap.
It's
Yeah.
Oh, and
awesome.
Ken, don't forget, even if you don't get media coverage, you'll get social media coverage. And we have 13,000 plus people who follow us between social Instagram and Facebook. And we're just talking about boosting posts. So like that's a really cool story that we can live on our blog, that we can put a video together for social. So keep us
Yeah.
in the loop because I'm always down for a field trip and Georgetown I've heard is beautiful. Haven't been yet, so I'm down.
There we go.
Did you say haven't been yet? I didn't hear that.
Yes, I have. I live in Greenville. I've lived here for over 10 years and I've been to the coast a lot, but not Georgetown.
She'll
Sorry.
get there, Ken. She'll get there.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome to be our guest down here. We'll even buy you lunch.
Guys, this
Ooh.
is my second invite to the coast this week, so I think it's time for a road
I
trip.
think it is.
Well, you need
Ken,
to
thank you
stop
so
by
much.
Marion on your way.
That's
Yes.
right. You need to
Little
stop by
segue from
Berkeley. Come
Berkeley.
on down.
We got a whole road trip coming. We got to get that bus. Okay,
Revolutionary
I
Ken,
road
got to
trip.
go, guys. Thank you.
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Chris.
Chris.
Watch the recording when we're done.
We'll have
Yeah.
the recording.
I'll
You
do
can
it.
see the next
Thank
two
you.
counties. Okay, thank you, Ken. And now we're moving into Marion County and talk about social media hype. Marion County, we have Holly Barr, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who is with Amazing Grace Park. She's the manager there. Holly, welcome to our little training here and take it away.
Yes, thank you. I do want to introduce my co-person, co-chair. That's Rhonda Bain. She's with the South Carolina Tobacco Museum. We kind of represent the two major cities in Marion County, Marion and Mullins. So we get to do
Awesome.
things together, which is awesome as well. So thank you guys for having us. And Rhonda's actually going to start us off on the actually, real quick on this slide, the QR code will take you directly to the podcast. If you haven't listened yet, it'll take you to there, so you can do that later. We have 7 episodes, I believe. So, real fast, if you want to do that, and then we'll go on to the next slide. And Rhonda will take over.
Next slide, did you say?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Yes.
Okay,
you.
there you go.
And my name is Rhonda Bain, and I'm the curator of the South Carolina Tobacco Museum in Mullins. I just wanted to thank everyone for having us. And I was going to tell you a little bit about the origins of the podcast. Basically, the podcast kind of started because a couple of years ago, the museum here received a grant. We were doing walking tours downtown. We had some very odd things that happened here in Mullins, and we wanted to document them via walking tour. But we also have a very aging population, and we had, what can we do for the people who will not take the walking tour, who will never come to the museum, who will never do all of those things? So my thought was to do a podcast because that way we're taking these stories off, we're adding them to a podcast platform and telling them so that people can use them whenever ever they want. If you're busy, if you don't make it, you've always got, I listen to a podcast every day when I take my 2 mile walk and all of that. So we really wanted to tap into that segment of the population that we were missing. So I had the Beyond Main Street podcast that I did for the city of Mullins, and I actually got funded to do it and the walking tours and maps and a time. I actually have a calendar that you download for important events. I got a funding for all of that through the South Carolina Humanities. So through that, I was able to buy the equipment to do the podcast, and we had this equipment hanging around that I use a little bit for the museum, but and Holly and I are friends outside of work, and we meet every Wednesday to have lunch. And we found that instead of talking about our families, we would talk about the 250. We would talk about the something weird we found in our county's history. And it just sprung out of that we were going to take these stories in Marion County that happened and put them on a podcast. And so now once a month on one of our Wednesdays after lunch, we actually come back and record the podcast. And then we edit it and, of course, put it out.
That's awesome.
So funding, Rhonda's already mentioned this. So the beginning,
my bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine. The beginning of the podcast really kind of came with the funding she had already gotten for the previous efforts she was doing, and we just decided to kind of see how it goes before we got more funding. And it kind of went a little bit better than we were expecting. So we used some of the organizing grant funds from the SC250 to do a paid subscription to Podbean, which is where we host our podcast. So it puts us on Apple Podcasts and things like that, and puts us a little bit wider audience. So that was super exciting. And that's a really easy thing for other counties to do. It's less than $200 for a whole year. And it does get you a little bit bigger, wider audience, and it's easier to find on the Apple Podcast and things like that than necessarily having to go straight to it on the website. So Rhonda's going to tell you a little bit about where it is now.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Okay, so we just downloaded our 7th episode today. It was a 2-parter, so we're also, whenever we do a 2-parter, we usually put the podcast out once a month, but when we do a 2-parter like we did today, we do, 2 weeks and 2 weeks. So we have actually this is our 7th episode. We're over 150 downloads already, which I didn't think was that good. And then I found other small libraries and stuff that were doing it, and they're like, that is actually really good for the niche that we're in. And we actually use it. Another thing that we have special guests. We've already had Dr. Scott Kaufman there. We are in 2026. We will actually partner with the DAR and have guests from that to open it up to more and different things, not just the stories that happened in Marion County during the American Revolutionary War. The weird thing that we're going to try in 2026, we are going to now we've just been feeding off of each other. But what we're going to do starting actually in December is I will know everything about the podcast and she will come as a total unaware observer. And then we're going to flip that and she'll tell me a story that I will know nothing about. So we're hoping to make it feel a little less rehearsed, a little less wooden, a little bit more organic, kind of like one of these meetings where you don't really know what's coming and all of that. And I think I got most of it, Holly. Let me check my notes real quick.
Yep.
Yep. Like I say, DAR. And like I say, our December, I do want to tell what our December, we are actually going to get away from the battles, the people and stuff like that. We are going to talk about for December, this is all I'm going to tell you, Holly, is what a Christmas would be like during the Revolutionary War and things like that. So that will be our December
That'll
podcast
be
episode.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I don't get to know anything. She has it all planned.
Nothing.
I'm really
nothing.
excited. That one will be coming out at the
I've been
beginning.
avoiding her so I would not accidentally tell her.
Yes.
You guys
So-
have a great, kind of back and forth already. So I love the idea of you sharing things with each other. This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, we're hoping that the new format, it really takes off and makes it a little more fun and engaging than it already is. So we're excited
And
about
the
that.
bloopers. Tell them about the bloopers. We have some amazing bloopers. We did
Yes,
have to
so we are
stop.
debating putting out a bloopers reel about maybe the year mark, just for funsies.
And we've cleaned up our language because at first I was like, well, I don't know, Holly. If we put out our blooper reel, it's all going to be like beep, 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 beep. So we've
It's a
had
little
to clean up our
frustrating.
talk.
So yeah, it's a fun time though. I
I'm
will
sorry.
say
We have a great time.
absolutely. So it's definitely worth looking at for other counties. And one thing we also use it for is promotion. So we promote it primarily through our newsletter, through the QR code I gave you, and we put that out physically at our in-person events so people can grab it when they're there. We also do it on Facebook. I know you guys have promoted it for us to get it out there. And then we also use it for the things that we do as a committee. So kind of a plug at the beginning and the end of each episode, we talk about the ongoing initiatives we have. One being Fork in the Road, which is a pretty fun initiative we had. Kind of actually reminded me of what I believe his name was Ken from Georgetown was talking about. So this was a food and beverage tour across the county where we got 13 businesses or restaurants and cafes to have a signature beverage or food, and we put Revolutionary War trivia at each location, and they had to like figure out the trivia questions, and it got them across the county, and it's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, one of our businesses closed before the initiative ended, which does happen, but it was a lot of fun, and honestly our businesses were super excited to be a part of it because it gave them free promotion as well.
Forgot that one of our prizes got stolen. So we have a theft to investigate.
Yes. So, but we also have, with that, we also have merch. And I know you guys are mentioning shirts earlier. We have also done shirts. I'm wearing mine now. Ours actually say Revolt, Educate, Commemorate, and then our 250 logo is on the back. And so we, through grant funding, purchased some for the committee and to have examples out for people to see and then purchase through our local vendor separately. So all everybody on the committee got one. Everybody was super excited. It was a committee effort to come up with it. We also actually have, and I should have brought it. Oh, well, we have other t-shirts that are navy blue. They say Marion County Patriots with our logo. And each one on the back tells you the story of one of our people that fought or lived during the Revolutionary War. And so when you get your shirt, you have it on there and you get a little card that says like who they are, what they've done, that kind of thing. So it's an educational experience and engagement for people as well. And then the last thing we really plugged it for is our mystery dinners, which we actually, I saw someone in the comments mention a second ago, we actually just had our last one Thursday. We had 3. We were able to go across our county. So one in Mullins, one in Marion, and one actually in a very kind of rural part called Errol's Crossroads. So we were able to really diversify our audience and really kind of educate our people on different battles and people in the county that I'm going too far. Let me go to the next slide. I'm sorry.
There
There
you
we
go.
go. So there was our so so I'm gonna go ahead and say local characters and war events. One of the things we also really wanted to focus on with our characters were not only our soldiers, but our freemen of color that were soldiers, and also the women in the county that were pretty influential and legendary during the Revolutionary War as well. So I'm gonna let Rhonda take over for a minute as well.
Okay. Basically, what we were doing is one day we were in a meeting. I don't even think I was co-chair yet. Do you, Holly? But every time everybody asked for ideas, I was like, "Can we do a murder mystery dinner theater?" And so we actually finally were able to do it. So you would go, you would have a brief biography and points that you were supposed to make during the dinner. You might say, "Oh, you're going to really try to stick to the women. You really want to be questioning, or you're a newlywed. This is your thing." And you had, when somebody approached you, you needed to get what you could out of them, but also that was the information that you were supposed to give up if asked. And basically, we had rustic pot roast. We really tried to stay true to the time period. We actually, through grant funding, were able to get some costumes and stuff like that, so people could come dressed and feel very good about it. But you got your bio coming in. We tried to email it during the first one, and a lot of people didn't get it. So we were like, okay, for 15 minutes, you can figure out who you are. Two people hosted it. It was Widow Jenkins, is one of our very famous female patriots, and her daughters hosted it. So you would drop a clue, like at the salad thing, at the salad course, you would say, "Oh my gosh, the person's here tonight. This is what we know." And then you would pick up another clue, like, "Oh, somebody dropped this over here. This is what it said," and it's a ripped piece of paper. And you would just go through the whole night. And at the end of the evening, everyone had a place card, and they could vote for the best detective, the best dressed, all of that, and they could guess the loyalist. We even got an amazing backdrop, which is one of my favorite things, where you could take pictures in front of the backdrop that looked like a swamp scene. And we felt
I
like
think we have pictures of that actually, maybe.
Yeah, there's
yes,
pictures.
I think we do. And
Yeah.
and we took it as an yes, there it is, the backdrop. We took it as an educational opportunity.
No.
We are from I'm sorry, Holly, you want to go ahead?
You go ahead.
Yes. We are from a very small county. We have a very small 250. We are only grant funded. We have received $0 for as far as county funding or anything like that. So we've got a couple sponsors finally for next year's thing. So we really had to take this and use a lot of our manpower to get it done. We had posters there that listed all of the gave representation to people of color that had fought during the Revolutionary War in our county. We really tried to cover all bases during the dinner, so it would not just be fun, but educational. We were also able to give research honorariums to the DAR and the Britain's Neck Militia, because we used their research for Holly to create these dinners.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to create these dinners. And it reached, so we capped our audience for each dinner at 35. One of them actually busted into the 40s, which was phenomenal. So that meant we got to reach about 110 people, some of which would literally have never been anything like this, because we were able to do it around the county. And they learned things and engaged with the history in a way that they would not have otherwise. And like she said, it was pretty much completely funded by the SC250. We got a monthly grant. We were able to do it with all the decor, the posters, the costumes. People loved, especially at our second dinner, which was at Errol's Crossroads. We had them set up in a closet, and they would just get to go in and play dress up. It was the most fun thing ever. The dinners, it was educational, but it brought an engagement and a fun, interactive way to the history itself. We actually had several people, because we assigned the parts. You didn't know you got a random person, and some people actually ended up being related to the part they got, which was awesome. So I can't really, like, I guess, promote the dinners enough, and it's really easily done that, like, it could be translated to other counties as well.
So Holly, there's some good questions for you in the chat if you get a chance to take a look.
Oh, sure. Okay, I don't have the chat pulled up. Hold on.
I
Do we
was
want
going
to
to
read
address
them
the
to
one
her?
that I saw about paying for the food. We actually charge $30 for the dinner to pay for the food
That
cost.
paid for the dinner.
Yes, it paid
Okay.
for the
Yeah.
actual food.
So actually, but the dinner though was done by our culinary students, their high school students, and they actually served the dinner. They prepared it, and so it just went right back into the community as well. The ticket price. Yes.
How
Wow.
about there's a question about the idea for the game. How did you come up with, did you get the kit online for the mystery dinner, or did you guys just create
No,
that?
No. So
no.
I spent so we just kind of, she and I are all about murder mysteries, and I kept having to tell her because she kept calling it that, and I'm like, no, nobody has to die this time.
It's like they're
So
all dead. They are all dead
they're
now.
already dead. Nobody has to die this time. So we just were like, all right, we can turn this into, we could just pick 3 battles that kind of happen close together. I had research with names from the DAR and the Britain's Neck Militia reenactors, and those are really the soldiers. So from there, it kind of spawned into their wives or even some children. And we created a cast, and the actual spy, I will tell you this, for us was historically accurate. He was a spy. He did lead people through the PD burning patriot homes. So it fully immersed in history, like a historical fact. Granted, like, some of the things obviously we'll say it's historical fiction because personalities and different things like that. But every time you got a character, you actually learned their story. We had some really interesting people that, like, somebody was in prison, somebody lived in a log for like months on end because they were hiding from the Tories. You got to learn all that when you got your character. So it was totally, so we spent countless hours researching and writing to create this immersive experience. But that really could be, like I said, translated to any county. You could use your own names, your own battles, things like that. It would be really easily flipped to a different county for sure.
I have
Holly,
a
real
feeling,
quick.
Holly, you're going to have people,
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to have people coming to you
Okay.
asking for help. This could be a sideline business for you too, to help come up with these ideas.
I
So,
was going to say, y'all need to take this on the road. First,
yeah.
coming soon to a place near you. Real quick question. I know we need to move on to, because I'm really excited about Greenville. Did you use use the same mystery each place you went, or did you
So
create three
it's the
different
same
ones?
mystery. So it was,
But
yes,
the
it was the
different
same, it's
people.
the same
Okay.
spy, same people,
Yeah.
same spy, but we focused on a different battle at each dinner. So we kind of
Wow.
tried to do it in the history of
Okay.
what happened near us. So we had battle at Ports Ferry, battle at Blue Savannah, and then battle at Black Mingo were the 3 different dinners. My mom actually went to 2, one in which I wasn't even at, which I loved because I got unbiased feedback. And so she got to learn different history at each one, even though the mystery itself was the same.
I was
If that
going
Fantastic.
to
makes sense.
And
say,
And we'll
Holly
probably
and
have
Rhonda,
time at
can
the
I can
end.
I say something real quick? So all my family's from Britain's Neck, and
Oh,
I have to,
yay!
and I have to tell you, this like brings tears to my eyes of the things y'all are doing in Marion County. It's
We
amazing.
love the neck.
If I can ever do anything to help there, my uncle is the fire chief, and
Oh,
there's a
awesome.
lot of people there. But if I can ever help y'all
who's
get
your
word
uncle?
out, Wyman Watson.
Oh, okay. I did want to say one thing really quick when you talked about other counties picking up. Marlboro County actually came to our very last dinner in Mullins, and since they have no battles in theirs, they were talking about using our dinner theater.
Right.
And we
And
have
that's a
some ways.
created group up there. Marlboro
Yeah.
County is a created group. I love this.
For
Well,
sure.
thank you. We'll definitely send more people
Yes.
your way. And we might have some time at the very end too if people have
Yes.
additional
Yes.
questions.
So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
ladies.
much.
Appreciate it very much. Okay, our last but not least county, we're very excited to have Kate Fowler here from the Nathaniel Green DAR to talk about a really cool idea. Ken, I told you, hold on, there's more trivia coming. So Kate, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much. And I was the one with all the questions about the mystery dinner. You guys, multiple members of our DAR chapter saw that online and were texting me, reaching out to me. They were like, we have got to do this in Greenville. So I would love to connect after this to ask you about more about how you did that. And thank you guys for being so creative and what an engaging, exciting thing. So thank y'all. Such a creative idea. So we are so grateful to be on this call. My name is Kate Fowler. We're a part of the Nathaniel Green chapter of Daughters of the American Revolution. I want to recognize my chapter regent, Carol Bolenbach, who I think is still on the call, and our America 250 committee member, Diana Farrell. So I'm the co-chair of our America 250 committee. We feel a huge responsibility and excitement to bring the 250 to Greenville. And so one of the ways that we kind of brainstormed about this over this kind of past summer is that, we started thinking, what are ways that families are currently coming together in the community? What are things that are already really popular in Greenville? And the thing that kept coming to mind was trivia. We have a lot of breweries. We have a lot of cool space in Greenville, a lot of like old historic spaces that have been turned into breweries. And as you can see here, there's a brewery downtown, for example, that used to be an old cigar factory and has a really cool look. So we thought, okay, there are all these trivia nights going on and everyone's really excited and kids can be a part of it too. What if we did an America 250 / kind of SC 250 trivia night? And we really started to think about it, and we found this space, which you can see has a really cool kind of Revolutionary War vibe. It's called New Realm Brewing Co. in downtown Greenville. I hope you can see those kind of big beer casks. It looks very
Yeah.
colonial. So we found the space, and this is going to be a big deal for us because our group typically we do a ton of service projects. We go to nursing homes. We really care for veterans, Reads Across America. We have a lot of kind of signature events throughout the year, but this year we're really venturing into events for the public that are advertised to the public, that we will, per our other speakers on this call, really revving up a marketing engine to do a lot of cross-promotional work for. What we're learning, and this is and what we're learning in the Greenville kind of landscape is that cross-promoting is just such a huge part of promoting a good event. So kind of just zooming out, here we are, thinking we can engage people in the community through a trivia night, and we can have the questions pertain to South Carolina's role in the American Revolution. So we are very grateful to Heather and the whole SC 250 Commission because we applied for a monthly grant back in August, I believe it was, and we received funding for this event. And it will be on Friday, February 27th from probably 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. We will have a trivia master who will be my husband. And in DAR, we have a term called HODAR, which means husband of DAR. So he's my HODAR husband. He will be dressed in Revolutionary War garb with the tricorn hat. And he has a really great public speaking voice, and he's done a lot of trivia. So what we're going to do and what we hope for is we hope to be able to engage over 100 people. So our DAR chapter is a really robust, thriving chapter. We have over 266 members and really, really strong attendance every month. I'm really grateful for that. So we're going to have word of mouth through our chapter. We're going to be cross-promoting this with the local historical society, the local Upcountry History Museum, other local, y'all have inspired me about the homeschool groups, schools, libraries, etc. But another important piece of this that we're learning in Greenville is that being able to get publicity through the large local email lists is really important. So for example, in our area, people get a lot of their news and events from GVL Today. I think there's like a CHS Today in Charleston, but we have tried to submit press releases to local press, and we're still kind of building our relationships in places. So we are making sure we have robust marketing budgets and are able to do kind of sometimes you might need to pay to play, is what I'm trying to say. So we do have a Facebook ads budget as well for this event, and we hope to really blast this in the local community. And again, hoping for 100 attendees. Again, February 27th. I mentioned cross promotion, making sure we're reaching out to the local, really robust email list where people get their news and events. We are kind of scrolling down here. We'll have decor, we'll have balloons, we'll make sure that everyone who attends this event, this was important for kind of the part of the grant where you're asked how will the longevity of the event kind of lead beyond. After the event, which I'll get into in a second, people will leave with a kind of commemorative little program that will share resources on how they and their families can get engaged into the SC 250. And so we can't wait to make that as people leave the event. But for the event itself, we're going to have likely 3 rounds of trivia. There'll be kind of a welcome, we'll talk about, again, my husband, who will be dressed up essentially looking like Sam Adams. Rules, team setup, everyone will pick a fun trivia name that will be announced to the group. We'll do round one, roughly like 8 questions or so, a question every 90 seconds. There'll be scoring breaks. We'll encourage people to get drinks and food and encourage them to support the venue where we'll be. We'll do 2 more rounds of trivia and then a final kind of lightning bonus round. Again, scoring breaks in between. And then we'll have an award ceremony where, as a part of our grant, we will be able to give cash prizes to the first, second, and third prize winners. We'll also give out free t-shirts to the winners first, and then we'll have some leftover giveaway t-shirts that will have SC250, DAR, America 250 design on them. Still got to design those, but they're coming. And then we'll be making sure this is posted on all of our DAR socials as well. We're also hoping to work with our local Greenville Journal newspaper for somebody on their team to photograph the event and help us with kind of a post-event press release. And we have a really robust America 250 committee that I'm really grateful for, and we'll be doing a walkthrough of the space soon, and it'll be kind of all hands on deck. And I know I'm past the 5-minute mark, so I kind of wanted to stop there, but we're still in the process of bringing it all together, but the excitement is building, and we really look forward to it.
Kate, I love it. I love it that you, stepped in from the DAR chapter to pull this together. I think you've got great ideas. I love it that you're getting your husband involved. We all have to do that at times, and hopefully he's doing it willingly.
Yes.
It's yeah, some great stuff. And then you guys are coming up with the questions.
Oh, yes. I should
crafting
have
that.
mentioned that. Yeah, so we are, as a committee, we're coming up with the trivia questions. We're making sure we cite all of our sources. That's important for our grant. We're making sure we have questions that reflect the diversity of the revolution, including Native American, Loyalist, and Black participation in the revolution as well. And we also on our committee have, a former American history school teacher. We have many people in our DAR chapter who are, incredible academics, genealogists. It's just an incredible group of women. So, but historical accuracy is very important to us. And we want to make sure we have both hard, easy, medium, and hard questions as well.
Yes, yes.
I
Great.
love it.
Kate,
I
let's
love
keep
it.
in touch because we can maybe help get word out to media here in the upstate. So please.
We would love your help. We have kind of hit a roadblock a little bit with Greenville Journal, for example. I
Okay.
think a lot of time it's like pay to play, like I've mentioned.
Yeah.
And we would love to get a spread in the paper, maybe like the month before. That would be phenomenal if you have a connection there. I'll also quickly mention, I know I'm not supposed to present on this necessarily, but we are working on a grant, everybody, for a colonial picnic in May at Historic Hopkins Farm in Simpsonville. It's not, we haven't gotten the grant funding yet, but we're excited. Wink, wink, Heather. But that's another initiative we're putting forward as well for our DAR chapter, and that'll be a really big initiative with kind of a full day of historical reenactment, colonial activities, and more. So this trivia night is kind of step one, and then hopefully the colonial picnic will be our kind of grand event in
And
May.
Kate, and this goes for Kate and anybody else on this call. Another resource that I think would be really great for everyone to consider reaching out to, Kidding Around South Carolina.
Yes.
They are a huge network, and they are constantly posting historical trips, not just like exploring the upstate, but all things kid related. So especially if you have an event that like tailors toward those people, like the colonial picnic would be perfect. The faux fresh foxes would be an awesome one, and I'm sure they would put coverage, and they have a massive audience. I mean, it's huge.
I actually used to be a staff writer for them. This was a couple
So
years
you know
ago.
them.
Yeah, I know them, and I used to work with them when I was a part of the South Carolina Children's Theater. It kind of goes back
Okay.
though. So I love them dearly, and Bethany Winston is one of my favorite people.
Yes.
But it is a bit pay to play now, I have to say.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Okay.
baking into our Colonial Picnic grant for sure. GVL today. Greenville Journal, if we have enough money, I would like to try to get a paid social media post with Kidding Around Greenville, but it's not like it's not guaranteed anymore. Like
Mhm.
it, maybe like it used to, but they have a massive audience. It's you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I just know because they come to my inbox every day and I'm
every
constantly
day, I
looking at
know, I
stuff for
know.
for my kids. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think it's
for
great.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And like when I was at the Children's Theater, we had a very robust marketing budget with them. So every time there was like a
Okay.
children's theater show, that was kind of a part of a deal we had with them. So it's just very interesting, you guys, to navigate kind of the local publicity and make sure that you are putting yourselves in the right places with the right
Yeah.
content. But let's
Well,
connect
that's
more about that,
unfortunate.
Ashley. I would like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's I think it's kind of I still will want to present that. Hopefully they would want to maybe put some of our stuff up for free. But if you want like a guaranteed social media post, they're so popular now. And I
Okay.
think that's more of like a gatekeeping thing just because of their audience size. Um,
Okay.
Definitely.
mhm.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
fantastic.
question.
I love this. And I love that you can
Ken,
package it and do it again
yeah,
too. And the giveaways, you can engage your partners and do tickets to the museums and that kind of stuff too and throw that in there.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
great.
hmm
Good, Ken.
Kate, the
Yeah.
gals in Marion County are offering to help you promote. So make sure you connect with them. I will send their contact information in an email too, if you guys haven't
Thank
shared it
you.
on the chat. But I think Ken had a question, right?
Yeah,
hmm
I did. I mean, this is amazing. This is a fantastic idea, and all 46 counties have to have a pub somewhere where they could do something like this. And
Yes.
I mean, how can we, I guess, how can we piggyback onto this without totally hijacking it? I mean, it's a great idea, and we don't want to do exactly the same thing, but did you have an outline that you worked with to put this together, and we can recreate it in other counties?
Yeah, I mean, Carol and I literally we're talking this week about our kind of our marketing plan, the plan for the event, the run of show, shall we say. But really, what you really just need, Ken, is to your point, to find a great space that can hold a great group of people, an MC who's willing to be the host, a group that will be able to help with like we'll have check-in. I actually do events for my DAR is my wonderful thing I do outside of work. For my 9 to 5, I'm a marketing specialist and event planner. So I really care about the flow of an event. You want to have a space that really flows from the beginning, making sure people get to, know where they're going from the beginning to the end. Um, and yes, we are working on an outline, and I can definitely share that with the group and share it with Janet and whoever wants to see that. But we're kind of still in the beginning stages of like putting our questions together. So maybe once we have our questions together, you can also see those too, and you can also tailor it to your particular county or town.
That would be
Um,
wonderful because I mean we
yeah.
have I was thinking more in the line of when our next tourist cycle starts in the summer
hmm
between all the all the beachfront places that are always looking for things to do in the evenings, this week we can start
Oh
bringing
yeah.
the
Oh
the SC 250 and I mean in Rev trivia to
yes.
places in the tourist areas that we don't we have a hard time really penetrating with history.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
this is a great way to penetrate that like younger audience
Yeah.
that has the young kids that can still come along and have fun. And I think you should do it, Ken. And I think you're right. We should have it in every single county.
yes. So keep
Yeah.
in mind the name of this session was Ideas Worth Stealing. So you having shared meant you were allowing it to be stolen.
Yes.
So, Libby and I talked about this 2 years ago when we went out to counties. We started taking notes of all the great stuff. And I wish we would have kept a journal of all of them and we could have condensed it into a book to give to you
Mm,
guys. But what we do instead is we try to bring you guys together on a periodic basis, i.e., the gathering in Camden in December. We allow for a lot of time for all the counties to interact with each other. And that would be a great opportunity. And I know for people who have full-time jobs outside of SC 250, it's tough to come to daytime meetings, but that interaction is so invaluable when you get to meet with others and share ideas and share resources. Because why start from zero when maybe you can already start at 10 or 50 or whatever the number is. So
Well,
I
exactly.
love it that you guys are willing to share this stuff.
Yeah, and even if we can't get to all of it this go around, one of the things we're doing during Carolina Week is we're opening up our time capsule from the bicentennial. But
Oh, wow.
if we could put a packet of great ideas into the tricentennial time capsule, they can
Ooh,
open
that's a
up.
great idea.
Give them
They
a
can
head
open up
start. I like
and
that.
not start
No,
from
they have to
scratch.
start from the beginning, just like we did, Ken. We are not
No,
doing that.
No,
no.
that's a great idea. I think that's really
It's
Pay
great.
fun.
it
I mean,
forward. Pay it
And real
forward.
quick, while we've got Kelly down, she's down in my corner anyway. She's quiet, but I know that we worked with Kelly for the River Dogs activation in Charleston, and came up. Their group came up with a big list of trivia questions that we used for those mid-inning
Oh, yeah.
activations. So maybe there's like a way we can kind of get a pool of questions together, because that seems like
Yeah.
that's probably the hard part.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
questions that
I'll
are in
think
that
of that.
range of too easy, too hard, that kind of thing. I would imagine that's a pretty tricky piece. So maybe there's a collaborative thing where we can get, a shared document, and everybody kind of put their questions they have. And we can keep that going and be a good way to help people lift this type of event.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I could pull that up on my computer and send it to
yeah.
whoever.
Okay. Um, well, I know everybody probably, did we get everything kind of important in the
I
chat?
think that's the
Anything?
last
Okay.
slide, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's
Yep.
it.
It
That's the
is.
end.
It is.
So yes, so we will, um, has it stopped sharing?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I will stop recording. We will hang these on YouTube, and we send them out in an email. So
I
if
have
you
it.
haven't seen some of the other ones in previous issues, you can share that way. But thank you all for joining. It was good to see all these
Yes.
great faces and new faces, and thanks for sharing.